Hello everyone, I'm Matt Evans and welcome to Board Game Replay. In this series, we try to capture the experience of playing a board game by sitting down for a post-game discussion and then talking about various elements of that game. And then during that discussion, we're going to be cutting back to replay clips of moments that we found fun or exciting. Now today we're going to be playing WWE Superstar Showdown, designed by Sean Swigart and Aaron Dill and published by Gale Force 9. So as you can see, the theme of this game is professional wrestling. Now if you're not interested in professional wrestling or it's not something you follow, don't worry about that at all because this game is excellent and stands on its own regardless of your knowledge of the theme. At its core, it's basically a melee combat system that uses grid movement, hand management, bluffing. There's a lot of great elements here. It's very straightforward, but it's still got a lot of tactical things going on as well. We're going to be playing this in a 4-player game today. We're going to be playing a 2 versus 2 tag team. So we're going to have 2 wrestlers in the ring and then 2 on the sidelines waiting to be tagged in. But even while those teammates are out on the sidelines, they still have lots of ways they can interact with the game and help out their teammates as well. So with that being said, I'm going to jump into a brief rules overview here. For those of you who aren't familiar with this game, might want to know a little bit more, have some better context for our discussion. But if you're already familiar with this game, you don't need to know any of that. I'm going to put a link up here, as well as in the description in the index of this video. You can click that, skip right by it. Alright, let's get to the rules. Alright, so we've got the board set up for a 2 versus 2 tag team match. And a tag team match works a lot like a regular match, except that you have your teammates on the sidelines ready to be tagged in to take your place. But mechanically, the game is very much the same as far as these wrestlers fighting in the ring go. But this game is entirely card-driven, so you're looking at the majority of the components in the game here. But that's not a bad thing, because each wrestler has a unique deck of 30 cards that is filled with... It's unique in a couple ways. Each of the cards is like a wrestling move. The one-handed bulldog, the hip toss, fireman's carry, and obviously all this artwork up here, or all these photographs, this is all of my wrestler here, John Cena. So it's unique in that way, but also the composition of the deck. The mechanical part we're paying attention to when we play these cards is right here where it says strike, as well as these icons down here. So I've got strikes, I've got grapples, maneuvers, blocks, and there's also even something called a slam, which is like their special ability. And that's really what makes the wrestlers unique. Not only their, obviously their card art's going to be unique, but also the composition of their deck is what makes them play differently. So I've got John Cena here, you can see, compared to the Big E. Now the number of slams and blocks in the deck are the same throughout all the wrestlers, but their grapples, strikes, and maneuvers are different, and that's really how the wrestlers feel unique, because Big E here, he's this huge, strong guy, so he's really good at grappling. He's got 9 grapples in his deck, but he's only got 5 maneuvers, so he's not going to be able to get around the board as easily. Whereas John Cena is a little bit better at maneuvering, but he hits really hard. He's got a lot of strikes and really powerful attacks to deal damage. So all the wrestlers have those, and they're all unique. This game is played over a number of rounds, and at the beginning of each round, the active wrestlers in the ring are going to draw up to a hand of 6 cards. They're then going to place 1 card down into each of these spots face down. And once both of them have done that, they're going to flip them over, starting with number 1, and they're going to compare those cards and see who won basically that move or that fight. You're basically taking turns trying to land wrestling moves on each other. And when you flip those cards over, you're going to compare what's on the card using this little chart here, this like rock, paper, scissors type mechanism. And the winner of that is then going to be able to resolve their card and actually execute their move. So I'm going to set up the board here with some cards as a sample to give you a better idea how this works. Alright, so both players have finished playing their cards face down. We're going to start with the number 1s and reveal them. So we're going to flip over 1 for John Cena, and he's got the fireman's carry, which is a maneuver, and the Big E has played stomp, which is a strike. Now I'm going to compare these here a little bit closer so you can see them. Now looking at this chart, a strike is going to beat a maneuver. So this card, since John Cena lost, he's going to take this card, add it to his discard pile, and then we're going to resolve stomp. Now it's important to note here, whenever you lose one of these little duels here, that card gets discarded and it moves off the board, whereas if you are successful, this card stays face up. But again, I'm going to leave this down here. So now we can resolve any and all of these icons in any order that we wish, as long as obviously they're applicable. So we're going to start with that. We're going to use movement first. Now you can move diagonally or horizontally. So I'm going to move next to this guy. I'm going to go 1, 2, and that's my movement. Now I'm gonna resolve power. Power is basically you hitting and doing damage. It's me landing this stomp, basically. In order to actually land a power attack, to do damage with power, you have to be orthogonally adjacent. Even though you can move diagonally, you have to end up orthogonally adjacent to your opponent to damage them. So John Cena is going to have to take 3 damage from this. Now the way damage works in this game is you take cards from either blindly from the top of your deck or from your hand, or any combination of the two to equal 3 in this case, and you add those to what's called a give up pile. Now these cards are permanently out of the game. You're never going to be able to get them again, and that's basically you losing your moves. Like, you're losing things from your deck, so you're going to be less maneuverable, you're going to have less control over your character, but also When this deck runs out and you don't have any more cards to play when you take damage from power, your wrestler is exhausted and your team loses. So losing cards from your deck it's the whole core of the game, so you're trying to do to the opponent. So you want to avoid it as much as possible. So in this case, I've got 3 power. I can discard them from my deck or from my hand, but I'm going to look at my hand here, and I've got a block card. I can add this block card to my give up pile instead and completely negate any other damage. So I'm going to do that. John Cena is going to play one of those block cards. Now all damage taken from that card is negated. Now, this stun icon would have triggered. I'm going to get more of that in just a little bit later, but since there was no damage taken here, this stun is skipped. I'll cover that more in just a little bit. All right, continuing on. We go to card number 2 here. We're going to flip those over. All right, so we've got a hip toss, which is a grapple, and we've got a running splash, which is a strike. So again, I'm going to put them here so you can see the two. Obviously, you can see even the color on the card here. You can kind of indicate what beats what, but grapple is going to beat a strike. So this running splash is discarded, and then grapple is going to trigger. The first thing we need to do here, we don't even need to move because he's standing right in front of us. We're going to deal 2 power to the Big E. He could maybe have a block in his hand at this point, but for only 2 damage, he's probably just going to take it, and he's going to take it blindly from the top of the deck. So he's going to take 1, 2 damage. And these are going to be, again, in the give-up pile, and are now out of the game. These other icons here, these are setup icons, and anytime there's a setup icon, it's either on power or movement. That means the next time you successfully win one of these duels here during the round, you're going to be able to add that many more points to that. So in this case, if I win the next one, I'm going to get 1 additional damage and another 1 additional damage from this icon. So I have plus 2 damage if I'm successful in the next round. So let's flip it over and find out. Third card, the one-handed bulldog versus charge. And again, put them here. A strike is going to beat a maneuver, so we're going to discard charge, and we're going to resolve the one-handed bulldog. Now again, I'm standing right next to him, so you might think I don't need to move. So this movement might not be useful yet. But I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to tell you what this power means. This has a picture, this has an M on it. And that means I'm going to deal damage based on the number of moves in a straight line I've made this turn. So, this is one of the cool parts of the game here. So you think, okay, well, you only have 2 movement, you're barely going to be able to before you do that. That's true, but I can actually do this. I can move 1, 2, and whenever you move into the ropes, you can bounce back any number of spaces in the other direction, even all the way down here to the other ropes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 1, 2, bounce all the way down to the end, bounce off these ropes, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, and smack them for 4 damage, because I just moved 4 spaces in a straight line. Now again, remember the last turn I set up 2 additional damage, so I'm going to hit him for 6 damage instead. So let's assume he doesn't have a block card. He's going to take 6 damage, which is pretty brutal. We'll take it all from his hand, so we'll do, well, whatever. You don't need to see me take it from his hand. And you get the idea. He loses 6 cards. Now, since he lost cards during his turn from power, the stun is now going to trigger. The way stun works is I get to play another card straight out of my hand and immediately have it trigger. So I'm going to play, boom, a short arm clothesline, and he's going to take an additional 2 damage because that's just what I get to do. I get to play a card right on top of it. So stunning is really powerful. That guy just lost 8 hit points in 1 turn. That was a pretty devastating turn for him. Now once all the cards have been resolved, we're going to check for a pin. And the way we do that is we compare the 2 player boards and see who has the most winning card showing. Because remember, when you play a card and you win one of these little matches, you get to keep your card there. But if you lose, it gets discarded. So right down here, I won both of these, and I actually played an additional card on top of here because of stun. So I've got 3, and the Big E has got 1. I'm going to be able to pin him if I choose. I'm going to opt to say yes, I want to pin him. Now, when I pin someone, they now have to either play a block or kick out card from their hand. If you look at a block card, it actually has the little kick out symbol right on it. You can add this to the give up pile and you get right out of the pin immediately. Or you can even play a card from your hand that happens to have a kick out symbol, like this one for example. This is actually a regular card and also happens to have a kick out symbol. And if you play that, the pin is immediately over and you go on. But again, you have to burn that card after you've been pinned. If you don't have anything in your hand, like the Big E right now, he has no kickouts in his hand, let's say. So then you have to flip cards over blindly from the top of your deck, and you count to 3. If you can't get a kickout symbol after 3 cards, you lose the match, you get pinned. So the Big E's going to flip 3 cards over. He's going to go 1, ooh, that's a slam, that's a bad one to lose. 2, and 3. His third card has a kick out, so he's okay. He kicks out of the pin. The match continues. But all 3 of these cards that he had to flip over, these are gone forever. These are going straight to that give up pile. So So that should show you kind of how a basic round plays out. It seems really simple at first, but there's a lot going on tactically. Like, you got to think about how you want to move, like thinking about the rope bounce stuff, thinking about positioning. So what seems like this really simple rock, paper, scissors thing, it's actually pretty tactical because you've got all these different symbols you want to be using. On top of that, you got to be reading your opponent, thinking about their deck composition, thinking about, man, he's been playing a lot of strikes this turn, you know, or I watched him burn a couple of strikes last turn. So you have to think about that stuff. And I want to show you a couple of the other symbols that are in this game, just to give you an example of all the different types of cards that you play here. So let's see, I've got some here I've got a corner move. If you were to resolve this move with a corner symbol, that means if your wrestler is in this corner space, you can then trigger a special corner move which lets you move up to 3 spaces and then deal 3 power. So it's just an extra bonus move. It lets you basically jump off the ropes and do something spectacular. There's also throw. Throw lets you move your opponent up to 3 spaces in any direction. Now this is great for repositioning them, maybe getting them away from a teammate before they tag out. This is a good example of when I could throw this guy, 1, 2, 3, throw him right into the turnbuckle. Because whenever you're up against the turnbuckle and you take damage, you take 1 additional damage because you're kind of stuck against the turnbuckle. You can also throw them right outside the ring if you want. And there's good and bad reasons to be outside the ring, but generally if you're not prepared for being out there, it can be pretty rough on you. So that's another thing that you can do with throw. Also, something I didn't mention before is that you can actually play block cards to this track. And whenever you resolve a block card, you flip it over, you automatically lose that duel between your opponents. So whatever they play, they're going to win with it, but you're going to negate any damage. So they're going to be able to resolve everything on their card, but any damage that they do, it's not going to do anything to you. The cool part about putting it here is that you've blocked all the damage you would have taken, and this only goes into your discard pile. This doesn't have to get added to your give up pile like it normally does when you play it from your hand. So that's something that you can do. Now the last symbol I want to talk about is reversal. Let's say I play a card right here with a reversal symbol on it, and I lost. The only time reversal comes into play is if I lost the duel. So if he had played, let's say, a maneuver in this case, I now have the ability to say, oh, reversal, I'm going to reverse your ability. That means I get to now play another card from my hand as long as I can beat whatever they've played. So if I play, I lost with a grapple, I can then take this slam from my hand, boom. I now win that match instead of losing it. Again, you only resolve the card on top after you trigger a reversal. Also, your teammates don't just have to stand on the sidelines inactive during the game. Whenever you win one of these duels, your teammate is then able to activate and move up to 3 spaces. Alright, so let's say I just played this slam card, and my teammate's right here. I can say, hey, you can move up to 3 spaces either before or after I resolve my card. He says, I'm going to do it before. He moves 1 space, getting adjacent to this guy on the other side of the ropes. Now when this power triggers, he's going to take an additional 2 damage because my teammate's there holding him down while I'm punching him. So it's always good to be thinking about, hey, where should I be when you end up executing this move? And it's important to know you're not actually bound to these 3 colored squares here. You can actually walk anywhere outside, this ring. You can even go over here and mess with the other teammates. One of the movement rules of the game is whenever you end your movement on top of another character's miniature, you can bump them in any direction. So if I might want to come over here and just move on top of this guy and bump him out of position if I felt like it. So there's plenty your teammate can do in addition to just looking at your hand with you and helping you pick and helping you read your opponents. They can actually move their miniature around and interact with the combat and stuff too. And again, the game ends when any one wrestler is either pinned or exhausts all the cards in their deck due to taking damage. Alright, so that should cover the majority of the rules of this game and give you a pretty good idea of how things flow. But if you have any questions or you need me to clarify anything for you, please don't hesitate. Leave a question in the comments below, or you can shoot me an email. It's in the description as well. And I think with that being said, we can get to the game. Alright, last one.
I'm scared.
Last one.
Okay. Strike!
Slam! Uh-oh, here comes.
Oh, 2 movement. Oh, no.
How much damage do I got? Okay, I can take the damage.
I'm going to go down here real quick. I'm going to go, well, before you move, whatever. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go here and hang out.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna hit you.
What do you got for damage?
5.
He's like, uh-oh.
1, 2,
Yes.
3, 4, 5. What do we got?
Oh.
Stepping body crushing. Okay. No blocks. I think I'm out of blocks.
And now you're next to him.
So
Guess
I've
what
won
time it
that
is?
Yep.
It's
Time to
time for a
get
pin, son.
Time
You
to
ready for
get
this? This is
pinned.
the game right here.
One.
One.
Two.
Three.
Oh, no!
That was amazing. Oh, that was so close.
That was good.
That was awesome.
That's very disappointing. I lost my undefeated streak as Big Show.
Man,
It's a little agility guy got you. That's the funny part.
the fast guy to
The little
that.
agile guy.
Should have got back to me.
You got in, and
That's
both
why I
times you
tried
got
running.
in, you had to get
I
out.
got
You're getting
slapped.
slammed
I did a couple of good hits to
Yeah.
Isaac to make him run, and
Yeah.
then like you just really just cleaned up.
I got nervous after I got through
Look at that damage.
most of my deck.
Yeah, if you didn't block that, I had a stun, so I would have been able to play more cards.
One of the best plays was when we had 2 slams and
Like that one?
Yeah, we had 2 slams
That's so ridiculous.
and Matt was like, "No, open with it," and I was like, "No, because you know they have a block," and he's like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, hang on. You could bump.
Right,
I'm gonna start.
Yeah, just hold it so we can see.
No,
everything
hang on.
else. Okay, here.
Need help here.
So we should definitely use one of those,
Yep.
and then
But you know he does.
True.
So I like where your head's at.
So you
gotta start.
Is there anything with
covering up the only important
defensive
information.
I like it. I like it. Because even if you're like you don't get it,
Yeah. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah, dude, you got
okay.
it, you got it.
And then maybe like,
Yep.
that's if you're. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Oh no,
I like it. I like it. Oh,
Yep.
that's good.
So
you know what I mean? Because you know, like,
You're right.
that
You're right. You're absolutely
first.
right. Like who doesn't want?
who.
Card one.
Oh, you can't beat this. You can't. Oh, boy.
Oh, you got
I
block.
told you.
You did it right though. But now you got to build up potentially. Potentially,
Hang on,
if
let
we have
him
more damage
move
later.
first. You want to move?
You
at
can
all?
move.
Do you want to move our characters? Do
No.
you want to bump him maybe into the rope town?
You can't bump me
I can't
anywhere.
bump him in.
Yes, you can.
You move
No.
one space.
You can move here and bump him
As
back
long as
into the
you
ropes.
don't have to go in the direction you're bumping.
Oh,
long as you-
so
as
if
long as
I
you-
jump on you, I can.
Yeah,
bump
as
you
long as you
like that?
occupy his space.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, you move him whatever one
Wait,
space
wait,
in
That's good.
direction.
No, that's good. Trust me, that's good.
No, because I'm here now.
Yeah, that's
You-
okay.
No, I
can
want to be
also-
on him.
But you could be.
You wanna be on him.
I want to be on.
So
him.
you can move him there,
I wanna
and
be
Matt
on
can
him.
move.
Okay, I'm alright. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Move him there. Move him there.
Move him in
Yeah,
front. Yeah,
yeah. That's what you want.
okay.
That's what you want.
Does Matt want to move? Does John
Nope, I'm
Cena
good.
want to move?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Flip it.
Oh God.
I'm gonna move him into the turnbuckle, and then
Hey,
you
you
can
push
move,
me?
Yeah, push you into
Diagonally move.
and we won that. round,
Turnbuckle
so you-
bonus damage, and then I'm gonna move here. I will actually sure I should have done this first, but I'm gonna move adjacent to the turnbuckle
Right.
before you do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
It actually does matter, but anyway.
And
Now we're gonna
5,
resolve. So we're gonna do 5,
5,
6, 7, 8
8
damage, and you're gonna block that, aren't you?
Yeah.
One damage right there.
We're gonna block that.
That was an amazing hit. That
That
was
was
an
an
amazing
amazing
hit. The look in your eyes when you guys were like so excited and Cam flipped like a second slam, you were just like, oh, like it's so perfect. Like it was like the most satisfying.
Oh man, I don't have a block card.
Oh, you killed me with the spear. The spear. Ow.
There was 3 hands that we had. That 3 of the cards were blocks.
It was hard. We didn't have much choices.
That
really.
was hard.
That's why I played so many blocks, because
Yeah.
half our hand was blocks most of the time. A lot of the time.
We started to figure out we drew 5 maneuvers one turn, and we're like, uh-oh,
There's nothing.
this is gonna be bad. Then we had reversals on a bunch of them. We're like,
They
that's
don't
not
do
gonna do
damage
anything.
most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but we learned. I think it was by like the 3rd time you punched us for like 4 or 5 damage. We were like, we got to stop playing. We kept playing blocks in the 3rd slot because we're like, okay, we don't really know what they're gonna play by then. We don't have we have a powerful front and not much to end with. We'll play a block down, but then we're like, wait, we didn't save a block in our hand.
That's the problem.
Like,
Not
we take
saving
like
a
6
block,
damage.
yeah.
We're like, oh.
And saving a kick out is huge because you don't realize, like, if you get pinned and you don't have a block in your top 3
Right.
cards,
Yeah,
What's
I
that
didn't-
like,
I
Jimmy?
didn't have any.
What's that
kickouts.
like? Tell
I
me.
didn't have any kickouts to choose from. I looked at that. I'm like, oh, I gotta keep one.
As you
I
were
don't have
discarding
any.
randomly, yeah, that
Well,
was
I didn't.
brutal.
No, yeah, my whole hand of 6 didn't have a single kick out.
that last time we just played, I played it like this where I was like, we're going to start strong because you're on the buckle. But I knew you were going to run away. I knew you were going to. So I was like, I need to get to you if you do move. And then try to slam.
follow it up with
But when
another
you
slam.
beat me there, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to him. And I was like, no, wait!
Let me guess. Let me get this right. Your strategy was use 2 of your best cards, and then
2 unbeatable
and then
cards.
use a movement card to get close to us so you can use your second best
Exactly,
card.
exactly.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
guess
I see what you're saying.
realize when I first started
Cam,
playing-
you're really transparent here. I'm really seeing through you.
I didn't realize when I first started playing that, like, one move can get you all the way across the room.
with
that
And
rope
I guess I
bounce.
didn't realize that. I thought that was only
Yeah,
if you
staying
had-
near the ropes and
Right.
Yeah.
But as a huge jest, but yes, I mean, like obviously slams are your best cards, but to Cam's point, they are. The time that you actually play them does matter because
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to. you play that mind game with your opponent where it's like if he opens with a we're thinking if we open with a slam and do huge damage, they've got a block in hand. What's the point? Like we're gonna win the match, but then we're gonna do 11 damage, but they're gonna take nothing.
You gotta be close enough to make sure you can actually touch them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of tactical elements to deciding what to play. I mean, obviously your slams are your guaranteed best. You're never gonna lose playing a slam unless you both
You can
play
only
slams.
times.
That's where having
So if I
two
play-
slams played at the same time
I only
really throws things
Yeah, if I
off.
played the slam anywhere but where I did, it would have put it up to a random at that
least
point.
swap,
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's ironic too. That
Yeah.
your slam was right
Right in the middle, yeah.
Well, the last
KO punch.
Well, I was said it
Didn't
right
work
to
out.
Isaac, like, because the last 2 turns I did slam on the first turn, so I'm like, they'll expect it.
Yeah. We
So I'm
did.
like, I'll
We
put it
did.
on 2.
That was what was happening.
Didn't help,
is
though.
we did a couple slams in the first turn, and I was like, let's do it second because
It's
they're
not
gonna have
working
that
out.
block on the first.
We're gonna have to burn a card.
I need them to burn and block before I slam them.
Yeah. I think it's pretty evident in our discussion though that I'm a huge fan of this game. Like I love this game. We played this at Gen Con and like we even had like a really abridged version of the rules. They weren't really wrong, but he gave us like kind of like it wasn't the full rules.
It was just fun rules.
It was the demo rules.
That was the
all
demo
you need,
rules.
all you
quick
needed
and-
for the
it's
demo.
quick and dirty.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, we're sold on this game.
Yeah, because they
Definitely.
weren't going to have you running outside the ring at all during the
Right,
quick,
and
short
then
demo. So.
once we actually get into it, we realize, oh my god, there's way more rules to this, like moving outside the ring.
Oh wait, you
like
could double
maneuvering.
reversal?
So,
So
I also
good.
think one of the best parts about it is I haven't watched wrestling since I was like 11.
Neither have I.
But I
haven't seen it.
love this game because I do remember wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to actively be in the wrestling community to love this game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wrestling's wrestling.
Wrestling's
It's fun.
wrestling, and the whole like slam, like that's what it's about. Like
Yeah.
it was cool to see like when you and Cena, when the Big Show and Cena, John Cena got in the ring. You're kind of just like hammering each other out like this. But then when you throw like someone with agility around,
you
their
and
cards,
Dana
the decks
Bryan,
are so different. The builds are like, well, if I can block his big hit, get around him, and then push him into a buckle,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you can having the buckle plus your teammate plus 3. So if you hit with a 2 damage attack, it becomes a 5, which is like that's why slam is. It's
Right,
5.
yeah.
Slam, yeah.
It's just as strong as a slam if they're in the right spot.
Yeah, slams are just as much like this is a weird slam. This is only a 3-power slam.
But you throw.
It's got a little bit of movement and it's got a throw, so
Right.
it's got positioning
Exactly.
along with some
So you
damage,
take the
and
throw,
it's a win card.
You throw them into the buckle, get your teammate to move adjacent to it,
Oh, yeah.
and move next to him, and that becomes a 6 damage, which is actually what you hit me for, I think.
Yep.
It does a really good job also at making the person on the outside still feel like it's part of the round.
Definitely,
Part of the game. Like
definitely,
where you move every time you win a hand or anything, or just being in the right spot to be able to tag out.
Yeah.
That's true.
So this
Ready?
was discarded.
Last one.
Grapple.
Maneuver beats a grapple, but there's no damage. in
minute.
it.
What's a reversal do? Open-handed chop.
I have a reversal too, so
can
now
you
I get
beat
to
a
play
strike?
my reversal, right?
Can you beat a strike?
No.
No, you can't.
No, I can't.
Open-handed
So wait,
chop.
I lost this one. I gotta make sure I do this right.
Yeah.
I lost this one, won this
lost.
one, lost this one.
Open-handed chop.
How much damage?
Plus 1. Oh, I'm
'Cause you
gonna
won that previous
move
one?
into the turnbuckle. The sweep.
Oh,
switcheroo.
no.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 damage.
4 damage. Ouch. I gotta do it out of see out of my hand maybe.
One out of your hand.
Those are both good.
It's not enough damage.
1, 2, 3.
It's not enough
I
damage.
can pin though. I can pin.
You can. I already flipped them over to
Okay.
like 2 slams I just lost, by the way.
Did you really?
Slams.
2 slams.
Oh!
Look at that. 2 slams.
Yes. All right.
That hurt.
All right.
I
like it.
Are you gonna pin?
Yeah. Pinning.
Okay.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't see that.
Thanks, buddy.
So you're tabbed in.
So this is back to my discard
Tag.
pile.
Tagged.
I gotta keep you in
stays
it. You're
there.
fresher than me. I just lost 2 slams, dude. I'm getting wrecked.
We never got you over to this side of the ring.
Right.
I
We
don't
didn't do
think.
any of that,
One,
but I
like,
still felt even when I was sitting out, I was like. Even when Matt's playing, I'm like in it with him,
Yeah,
like, making and I think that it kind of keeps it so one person's not just like this, waiting to get tagged.
we
like
decide-
a video game,
Yeah,
you know?
decide the moves together. Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
playing Big Show, but we always talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
I at least I was thinking very passive. When I tagged you in, I was like, I'm not even gonna move. There's no reason for me. I need to be available for you at all times.
Whereas if you were over on our side, you could have messed us up a little bit.
Yeah, that's one of the things in the rules they
It could
mention
have
is bumping
probably
your
changed things around if
Yeah.
I moved my way over there.
Specifically in the rules, it's like you can even take your guys that are outside the ring and like bump other wrestlers out of their spots,
So
so
they
they
can't
can't be
tag.
tagged. So like
Yeah.
if you've got me in a corner and I'm about to tag out, you can just be moving around me, just keep pushing me out of my spaces.
One of the pins that he did on you, you tagged me in. It
Two
was
of them.
Yeah, it was an immediate not
I'm
pin.
out. Free, no card loss.
Imagine if he was bumping us out of
Oh,
there.
I'd be pissed.
and you
Get
didn't-
out of here.
And you didn't have a kick out.
Yeah.
Our tags orthogonally.
Orthogonally only,
Yeah.
and you got to only tag in your
the blue
in your,
spots.
your
That's
colored
amazing.
spots.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's why the corner's not. But yeah, so if we did more, we didn't do that much interaction outside of the ring, but like if I threw you out there, Isaac can then move and push you further away to keep
Yeah.
you up from getting back in the ring, just tire you out. Stuff
And
like
being
that.
out of the ring is
If you lose,
is good
yeah.
and bad. It's mostly bad though, because if you lose any of these little duels, like you're
Yeah, you
burning
take free
cards.
damage.
Yeah,
It's
burn.
damage. It's damage. You're just losing. So if you know, like you've packed a slam heavy hand,
No.
and even when you tie, like the more you tie and you keep stacking cards on, all of that stuff gets burned. So you can potentially take huge damage from being outside the ring. But there's also the
I think I only lost one card from being out there, and
Yeah.
that was a strategic move. I moved out right at the end
So
and
you
then
reshuffle.
moved right back in.
Yeah. There's they call it catch a breather or take a breather or something.
breath.
That's if you're at the end, at the beginning of every round, if you're outside the ring, you get to shuffle your discard back in your hand.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the tactical elements of this that we didn't know when we first picked the game up. We were still sold on it because like the combat and the
Yeah.
tactical movement was really fun. But then when they start saying all this other things like decisions you can make to improve your skill, like. I played 2 slams and I was like, Cam, I'm out of here. I'm going to come tag you out. Like, I just dropped 2 slams in one turn plus took 5 damage. That's too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out. Like, slams are only a few of them and usually 3 in the deck.
Yeah.
So I've used the majority of my slams. I'm out of here. Like, I don't need to be in the game. If I don't have them and they know I don't have them, they can play so much more aggressively. There's so much to think about for what seems like this, like, silly, crazy game.
I really want to see more games bring in like hand-to-hand combat on this level because it's such a good way of doing it.
It is, it really
There's
is.
no every other game is you depend on shooting because it's like how far you can
line of
shoot
sight
and the line of sight and all that stuff. This hand-to-hand combat stuff.
cool.
It's really cool.
With a theme that,
You
like
could
we said,
totally do it with
Yeah.
any game though.
and you can get excited about this one because, like, wrestling is pretty straightforward. It's like there's a picture of a dude slamming his face into somebody's chest and
Yeah.
knocking them across the board. Like,
Yeah.
that's exciting for anybody. You can
Spear, man.
you could retheme it to something else and it would still be
Colossal
exciting, but it fits that sort of thing really well. And I don't know if it seems like it's intentional. I could say it's like they got lucky, but this whole rock paper scissors thing, it's like they sat down to develop this and were like, what would make an exciting way to reveal what move you're doing? And it's like it's rock paper scissors a little bit, but then like the reveal is always like tense. It's always tense. It's always like, oh, it's gonna be
right.
That's awesome. You can do that with every single card flip. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, I won. Yeah, but I got a reversal. Like,
Yeah, it's-
reversal adds.
And
Remember,
so I'm saying mathematically, I felt like it's very well balanced.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure,
you
yeah.
throw in these big characters and you have to make them kind of like appear who they are in wrestling, like bigger, more turns for this or that. But I felt like it's really well balanced as far as like our interactions with each other.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, right when I first started, Big Show just kind of picked me up. And threw me
I
around.
tagged you in and you just went, hey,
Well, I was joking with Matt right before the game, like, oh, well, Big Show's gonna win. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it
Yeah.
is with this game, and we've
He's not OP though,
understood.
like-
We've understood more and more about the movement and how to maneuver yourself into a spot where you can get the extra damage by putting him in the
Right.
turnbuckle or getting him next to your tag partner or
Everyone
Yeah,
has
just
their
being able to
strengths and their weaknesses.
Exactly.
And that's important because
Exactly.
sometimes when you play a game, it's just like whoever picks that first OP character is like,
Yeah.
oh, they kind of have the upper hand.
The first time we played, like we said, we didn't know all the rules. So yeah, I think I won with the Big Show a couple of times because
know
it was just
Yeah.
straightforward. Like, oh, you beat me. You did a ton of damage. I'm done.
Right.
But like we didn't realize all the other like reversals and blocks and like when to use a block and
Yeah,
how
that's
to
true.
That would have made the perfect like month-long series on WWF Raw or something, or WWE, where it was like Big Show won, and then comes along and like a little guy gets him or something.
It's funny you talk about that too, because like this game has a whole bunch of stuff. We're not even playing with it, but it has like a campaign, an advanced rule set where you
Oh, yeah.
like. There's an event card, and like I didn't read them, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But there's a system
different
where
options of how to play.
long-term matches, and you might be like, okay, we're gonna do a tag team match this time, and this one we're gonna do this kind of
I
match.
saw
Battle
six-
Royale.
six
Battle
player.
Royale. There's a 6 card.
That's a 6-player. Yeah.
So this box says up to 6 players, and basically like it's saying 2 teams of 2 up to 6 players. A lot of the action is like we were playing, where like there's people on the sidelines while the other one's going. I feel like 4 is the ideal count. You could play this solo and min-max the whole thing yourself. It's not a big deal. It's totally doable. but the excitement of having a teammate,
Having a
share
teammate,
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure, 2 teammates. I'd play the 6
Well,
player.
sometimes you
I mean,
make
I'd still play
decisions.
Even then, it's still we all decide together on all the
Yeah,
actions.
sometimes your teammate decision can influence your
Right.
game too.
Totally.
Ready?
Good.
Okay.
Hit you for
first
3. The arm breaker, but you block
Alright.
it.
And
Okay.
No, they suck too.
oh,
Wait, no. I'm pretty sure our last card.
It doesn't matter. You gotta flip from the top of the
Yeah.
deck. Flip it.
What is it?
Block a Rooney.
All right, so we want to again.
I think it's still pin. They can pin. Don't tell
We
me.
want to run away though.
don't know. I don't know.
No, it's either
So I don't have
we can
any
try to.
blocks if they
You
can.
have.
You
No,
have.
I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. It's not good. That's not good.
I don't believe that.
Come on, man!
I was like,
I didn't want him to run away. I wanted him to pin me.
I was like, wait, are you double kidding? Because I've known you since like 7th grade. I know that face.
I fell for it for sure. I was like right there. I go like this. I point him like, yeah, I don't have any blocks. He goes, yeah, you do. You have. I was like,
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3.
now they're gonna run away. They would have pinned and kicked them out, and they kicked their ass on the next hand.
Boing. And
Oh man,
so
they,
done?
They wouldn't have tagged out.
Yeah, you're all deciding things together.
absolutely.
So it's not like oh, Matt's in, I'm not playing. No, you're all playing. You're all deciding. You said it earlier.
Exactly, exactly. You might think, oh, I'm only gonna do. You can only move 3 every turn. Well, dude, get in the game. There's like so much to talk about. There's so much to plan. You gotta have the putting your heads together. It's
Yeah,
so
I mean, I think that brings up a point about cards too. I don't know if it totally makes sense thematically if you're sharing cards or whatever. I think it totally makes this game like
being able to talk
because
with your-
everything is min maxing with its complete luck unless you know
unless you're thinking about it. Yeah,
right? Yeah,
you just
right.
play blind.
If you saw it, like I thought we were safe because I thought I saw all your blocks go out. So I'm like,
Right,
we got this. So I went all damage. I didn't really have many other options either. I didn't have any blocks left, but I went all out because I thought all your blocks were gone, but he pulled that one and messed me all up.
Talk about that thematic element though too. Like the first thing the rules say is like characters start with a 30 card deck and then they slowly start losing cards and damage from the deck. And that represents them getting weaker and slower and more predictable, which is like, it's awesome. Like it's so simple but so well done.
Yeah,
you
like
know? It makes sense.
I remember watching wrestling, like, oh, his knee is weak now. He can't walk on it very well, so now he can't do the big kick. Like,
It's
kinda
scary
along
when you
those
get
lines.
damage, real damage, not just burning a card in here,
A block,
but when
yeah.
you're taking a card and you're sticking it over here,
Yeah.
you realize that that's out of play.
What was that time Matt
That's
flipped
gone.
like 4 cards and 2 slams?
2 slams.
Oh,
Like,
that
that's
hurt
out
me.
forever.
Yeah, luckily you tagged out instantly.
I was like, I'm out of here. That's another one of the decisions you make in this game. It's like, well, I just lost my 2 slams forever and a bunch of damage. I'm out of here.
I'm useless. Yeah.
I'm useless.
And they're gone.
Gone.
right?
Yeah, can't get them back. This
Which
my
is
damage.
which is cool because you don't have to keep track of like hit points and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
oh, did you take 5? Did you take 3? Like
Yeah,
you don't
right.
have to keep track. You're just like, oh my god, I'm running out of cards.
Well, it's a
And my guy
moment.
is weak.
It's a moment of every action like that. I completely agree. It is a moment where you're discarding of the card. You're like, and the opposite team's like, what are you flipping
If you
over?
were watching wrestling, you can feel your stamina going when you see this card stacked.
Absolutely.
You can picture them just being like, because it's just the higher this gets, the more like they're
And
just
then even though he's
dragging along.
completely dead, he still does a colossal slam.
I think you made a really good point about something that I didn't think about at first. There are no tokens in this game. There's nothing to keep track of. There's no stun counters, no life counters. The deck
I
takes
love that
care of the
about
hit
it.
points.
Yeah.
It's so. I hate to call this game elegant, but man, it's so smooth. It plays really smooth.
It plays
because,
very smooth.
It's just cards and miniatures, and
It just seems silly because it's WWE, but if you put any other theme on it, it
You
would be
could
an
make
awesome
it
game.
fantasy like Knights
Sword
and
fighting,
Warriors.
magical.
And, yeah,
Sure.
you could make it a space combat game.
I think we've sort of expressed that. I think this game is awesome. I mean,
So,
this is.
does
really
Does
is.
everybody like? I
Did you
couldn't
guys
tell.
like this game?
Not at all.
It's not at all.
Last thing I wanted to bring up is even if you are not into wrestling, we do not watch wrestling.
Last
We're
time I
not
watched it, I was like
into
11.
wrestling. It's not.
We watched it in the
Right.
past.
Yeah.
I the last time I sat down and watched it when I was probably in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It brings
makes no
It's
out
almost nostalgia.
something. It
You know what I mean?
definitely
It's a little
is.
bit of
It
nostalgia.
brings back
Nostalgia
your
for
youth of
something
like,
that I was right. If there was nostalgia for, if there was a board game based off of Magic cards, I'd probably be into it. The same amount. It was just because that was something I was into. I was into wrestling for a hot minute, and it really the nostalgia behind it is great. But the board game is better than the nostalgia.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, we don't, like I said, we don't follow wrestling. That's not a dig on wrestling. It's just not something that we follow for a long time. But Jon Stewart's going to be doing like the SummerSlam thing now, so I kind of want to start watching wrestling.
might make me
It's
watch
getting
wrestling,
me excited about it now.
That's right.
They should get a Jon Stewart soundboard app.
All right, we're hanging out, playing it while
It needs
SummerSlam
to get
is
all
on.
of us together and order one of the pay-per-view things.
I
And,
know.
and even though we're not into it, we could just drink beers, eat chips, and watch it anyway.
Yeah, right.
With the game in front of us.
With the board game going the whole time.
All right, well, try and recreate it.
I think we've definitely hammered home that we enjoy this game and we find it very exciting. It's not a whole lot much else we can say about it. I mean, it's a tight game, and for as silly of a theme as it seems to be, it's actually a really tight game with some good mechanical elements too. Like definitely solid. All right, well, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for playing. Cam, thanks for coming over.
Thanks
Good
for
to see you
having
again.
me.
Cam, it's been a year, man.
It's been a
Welcome
while.
back.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. That was
Thanks.
a blast. That was so much fun. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Unfortunately, no longer undefeated on Big Show.
We won against Jeremy. I feel so good about that. Up high. All right.
I blame Daniel Bryan.
Seriously, blame me. I lose everything.
Not you. Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
It's
okay.
him. It's it.
But he was supposed to be the best.
He does have the best beard.
I've been
His
told.
beard is superior to everyone. Take it easy, guys. Thanks so much. See ya.